What if I told you about a guy with almost 15,000 career points,
Taking the 360, he'll get the foul in the bucket.
who averaged over 20 points per game for nearly a decade,
He had that mindset, like no matter what was going on with the team, like give me the ball, I'm about to get y'all a bucket.
and was one of the most dynamic scorers the NBA has ever seen, just disappeared one day? That's what happened to our guy Monta Ellis. One day he was one of the league's most exciting players, and the next day he was kind of gone. But how did this even happen? Where did he go? And where is he now? To figure this out, we got to go back to the beginning where this whole thing started. Monta Ellis was selected 40th overall in the second round by the Golden State Warriors. Joining the Warriors put Monta on a team in transition. At the time, the Warriors were struggling to find its footing in a competitive Western Conference. The roster featured established players like Jason Richardson, Baron Davis, and Derek Fisher, but the team lacked consistency and direction. As a rookie, Monta saw limited playing time and struggled to make an impact. During his rookie season, he averaged just 7 points, 2 rebounds, and 2 assists per game, while shooting 41% from the field. For a young guard adjusting to the physical and mental demands of the NBA, it was a challenging start. However, his flashes of potential hinted at what he could become with experience and opportunity. The 06-07 season marked a turning point in Monta's career. With injuries sidelining key players like Jason Richardson, the Warriors turned to their younger talent to fill the void, and Ellis seized the opportunity, rapidly becoming one of the team's most dynamic players. His scoring average skyrocketed to 16.5 points per game, and he added 4 assists per game, showcasing his ability to create opportunities for himself and his teammates. Monta's speed and agility earned him the nickname the Mississippi Bullet, a tribute to his quickness on the court and his relentless driving ability. His fearless style of play reminded many of a young Allen Iverson, a small guard unafraid to challenge the bigger defenders in the paint. By the end of the season, Monta has solidified his role as a key contributor for the Warriors, but his contributions extended beyond the regular season. That same year, the Warriors made history with their We Believe playoff run. As the 8th seed in the Western Conference, they faced the top-seeded Dallas Mavericks, a team that had won 67 games during the regular season. And against all odds, the Warriors pulled off one of the greatest upsets in NBA history, becoming the first 8th seed to defeat a first seed in a 7-game series. Although Ellis struggled at times during the playoffs, the experience was invaluable. It showed the league his potential and gave him a taste of postseason basketball, fueling his desire to grow as a player. The following season, Ellis elevated his game to new heights. During the 07-08 campaign, he averaged over 20 points per game while shooting an incredible 53% from the field. His efficiency at the rim was particularly impressive, as he converted 68% of his attempts in the paint, despite being a smaller player. It was a career-best season for him, as he combined his scoring with his improved decision-making and shot selection. Fans and analysts alike begin to view him as one of the league's rising stars. But just as Monta appeared to be reaching his peak, a single event in the summer of 08 derailed his trajectory. During the offseason, Monta suffered a severe ankle injury in a moped accident. The injury required surgery and months of rehabilitation, but it doesn't end there. The fact that Monta was riding a moped violated the terms of his NBA contract. As a result, the Warriors suspended Monta for 30 games, and he only managed to play in 25 games during the 08-09 season. The injury had lasting effects on Monta's career. Known for his speed and explosive drives to the rim, he was never quite the same player after the accident. Although he worked tirelessly to recover, his game evolved to rely more on mid-range jump shots than his signature driver to the basket. This shift in play style led to a decline in efficiency, as Monta was less effective from the perimeter than he had been in the paint. Meanwhile, the Warriors were undergoing another major transition. In 2009, the team drafted Stephen Curry, a sharp-shooting guard from Davidson College. While Curry's arrival was exciting for the franchise, It created tension within the team. Both Monte and Steph were undersized score-first guards, leading to questions about whether they could coexist in the backcourt. And Monte publicly expressed doubts about them playing together, famously stating, "We can't play together. We're too small." His comments reflected genuine concerns about their defensive limitations and stylistic overlap. However, the tension didn't last long. Encouraged by his wife, Ellis later apologized for his remarks and worked to build a better relationship with Steph. Despite their improved chemistry off the court, the pairing struggled to deliver consistent results on the court. However, by the 2010-2011 season, Monte had firmly established himself as the Golden State Warriors' star player, averaging over 21 points per game. He was the go-to scorer for a franchise that was still struggling to find success. However, despite Monte's impressive scoring output, the Warriors were not a winning team. The front office was beginning to reassess the direction of the franchise, as Steph was a talented young guard with a different skill set than Monte. While Monte was known for his speed, athleticism, and ability to slash to the basket, Curry's game revolved around the three-point line and his playmaking. Both players were undersized for their positions, and their defensive limitations made it hard for the Warriors to compete with bigger, stronger teams. On offense, both were score-first guards who needed the ball in their hands to be effective, leading to redundancy in their roles. The Warriors' lack of defensive presence and overall team struggles made it clear that changes were needed. Monte's final years with the Warriors were marked by high scoring numbers but declining efficiency. His reliance on mid-range jumpers after his ankle injury reduced his effectiveness, and while he remained a fan favorite, his style of play no longer aligned with the team's long-term goals. In March of 2012, the Warriors made a franchise-defining decision by trading Monte Ellis to the Milwaukee Bucks in exchange for Andrew Bogut. The move was initially met with outrage from fans, many of whom saw Ellis as the heart and soul of the team. However, the trade was a strategic decision to address the Warriors' defensive weakness and build a foundation around Steph Curry. Bogut, a skilled and physical center, provided the defensive anchor the team had been lacking. The trade marked the end of an era in Golden State. While Monte had been the face of the franchise during some of its toughest years, his departure allowed the Warriors to transition fully into the Steph Curry era. What initially seemed like a painful decision would be recognized as a turning point, setting the stage for the Warriors' eventual rise to dominance. As for Monte, after leaving Golden State, he joined the Milwaukee Bucks, a team in search of an identity. Ironically, he was paired with Brandon Jennings, another small, undersized shoot-first guard. Monte found himself in another similar situation. The pairing posed challenges as both players needed the ball to be effective, and the team struggled to find balance. During the 2012-2013 season with the Bucks, Monte averaged 19 points and 6 assists per game. While these numbers showcase his ability to produce offensively, his inefficiency continued to be a concern. His shooting percentages continued to drop, and his lack of defensive impact limited his overall contributions to the team. Despite his efforts, the Bucks failed to make a significant playoff push, and Monte's time in Milwaukee was short-lived. His next chapter began with the Dallas Mavericks, where he signed as a free agent in 2013. The Mavericks provided an environment that better suited his game, surrounded by a team-oriented system led by Dirk Nowitzki and head coach Rick Carlisle. Monte thrived as a secondary scorer and playmaker. His ability to attack the basket complemented the team's offensive struggles, and he played a key role in their playoff runs during the 14 and 15 seasons. During the 2015 playoffs, Monte had one of the most impressive performances of his career, averaging 20 points per game during the postseason. However, his inability to draw fouls or consistently get to the free throw line limited his effectiveness in crunch time situations. Still, his contributions were instrumental in helping the Mavericks remain competitive in the Western Conference. At the end of the 2015 season, Monte was signed with the Indiana Pacers, marking the final chapter of his NBA career. Initially brought in to provide scoring and veteran leadership, Monte struggled to maintain the level of play he has shown in Dallas. His scoring declined and his quickness and agility diminished with age. Over time, he lost his starting role. By 2017, Monte's time in the NBA had come to an end. The Pacers waived him, and despite his efforts to stay in shape and work on his game, no team showed interest in signing him. At just 31 years old, Monte's NBA journey was over. A reminder of how quickly the league can move on from even the most talented of players. Monte's career was one of contrast. At his peak, he was one of the most electrifying scorers in the league, capable of taking over games with his speed, athleticism, and fearless drives to the basket. However, injuries, inefficiency, and the evolution of the NBA ultimately shortened his time in the spotlight. While his post-Warriors career didn't bring the same level of team success, Monte's impact on the game and his fans remain undeniable. For Warriors fans, he symbolized hope during a challenging period in the franchise history, and his contributions helped pave the way for the team's eventual transformation into a dynasty. Monte retired from the NBA with career averages of 17.8 points and 4.6 assists per game. Although he never made the All-Star team, his legacy as one of the most dynamic players of his generation still holds today. Ellis still remains a figure of inspiration for young athletes, a testament of hard work, perseverance, and the unpredictable journey of professional basketball. Monte is often mentioned in discussions about the greatest players to never earn an All-Star appearance. His scoring numbers consistently ranked among the best in the league, but his lack of recognition highlights the challenges he faced, including playing on losing teams and the rapid evolution of the NBA. During his career, fans have often wondered how different his career might have been had he not suffered the infamous moped accident in 2008. The injury not only derailed his momentum, but also forced him to adjust his game, relying more on jump shots and less on his explosive drives. When you really think about it, it is kind of crazy. He was at the peak of his powers, and that one situation of him getting on a moped derailed his whole career. Add in the fact that it violated the terms of his NBA contract, and it just makes the whole thing worse. Another common debate centers whether the Warriors could have won a championship with Monte instead of trading him for Andrew Bogut. While Ellis was undeniably talented, the trade paved the way for the Warriors to build a team around Steph, which ultimately led to the dynasty. To answer the question, we all know if you watched the Warriors at the time, there is no way that Monte would have led them to a championship. Anyhow, financially, Monte secured stability during his career, earning over $100 million. Even after leaving the league, he's continued to receive payments under the Indiana Pacers stretch provision, which provided him $2 million annually until 2022. Beyond finances, Monte has dedicated himself to giving back to the basketball community through the Ellis Elite Basketball Camp, which he co-founded with his wife. The camp focuses on nurturing young talent, emphasizing not just skills, but also character development, showing Monte's commitment to inspiring the young generation. As the years pass, Monte Ellis' legacy remains intact as a player who brought joy to fans and played with a heart that resonated with everyone who watched him. His story is a reminder of the highs and lows of professional basketball and the lasting impact of perseverance and passion. But what if I told you about a guy with over 17,000 career points, almost 8,000 career boards, an 11-time All-Star, and was regarded as one of the greatest power forwards of his generation? Just disappeared one day. If you want to know what happened to Chris Bosh, just click right here.